have a serious conversation about prostitution, and at some point, someone will likely tell you that it's the oldest profession in the world, even though there's zero proof of that. And yet, just because it's been around for ages, that somehow justifies the sale of a woman's skin for sex. Or you'll hear, hey, they're just two consenting adults and they're not hurting anybody. Of course, we wouldn't say that if there was a chance that she wasn't an adult, though she may look it, or if there was a chance that she didn't consent to anything, someone consented for her, or if we knew that there was a spouse or significant other at home who would be horrified to hear about any of it. Prostitution, the life as it's called on the street, isn't confined to red light districts, brothels, or bad neighborhoods. It's right here, and everything you're about to see was shot in New Hanover and Brunswick County, good areas and bad. You will not see many of the women's faces, given the risk that their lives may be in danger because of a pimp or trafficker. Some women are forced into prostitution, others driven there by addiction. You will see many of the men's faces who were charged and arrested for buying sex, though until their day in court, they are presumed innocent until proven guilty. This is the life, and whether you are in it or watching it right now, at best, you are but a few degrees of separation away from someone who has a secret.
It's a highly, highly violent, volatile, dangerous, dark industry.
I mean, I was promiscuous before for free, so why not do it for money?
I was a new girl, and I was making thousands of dollars a day.
Yeah, and it was all going to drugs. 100 bucks for just a quick 10 minutes, and it was done. I was like, hey, this is all you got to do. This is not that bad.
90, 95,
Easy.
96, 97.
10 minutes. Money was in my hand. He was gone. Easy.
Just close my eyes and just wait for it to be over.
He's gonna knock on the door. Go ahead and get ready to get out with the schedule.
And I take showers after every client and scrub my body, and I feel horrible afterwards, to be honest.
Rape goes hand in hand with prostitution.
You have heroin?
Yes, I do.
Which goes hand in hand with drug using.
Until I got into this business, I never knew in my life that, you know, the things that go on really happen. There's things I have seen and heard that I'm scarred for life.
Yeah, there's nowhere to turn. You become manipulative. You manipulate your own mind because you have nowhere to go.
Anytime you see a female walking down Market, it's most likely she's a prostitute. Yeah, you basically got to switch, and basically that's how they know, you know, you're working. You switch, you play with, you know, play with your hair, kind of act like you're cute, and they want to stop. I mean, they just nod their head, and when they nod their head, or if you notice that they pull over and they don't get out their car, it's because they're waiting on you. The most I've ever made is about 200. Walking. At one point, I was able to provide a hotel room every night and provide my habit and be able to eat and still have money left over.
I call it the hoe stroll.
The what?
The hoe stroll.
Most of the females that we come in contact with that are classified to us as streetwalkers or in the Market Street corridor, we use the acronym. It's a fatal funnel between 23rd and Market up to New Center and Market.
People just think Market's a place to go shopping.
All right, she's talking to one right
All seems pretty normal to a person that is not involved in this other world. When I drive down Market, I see something completely different. And when I see Market Street, I see nothing but heartache and a bustling graveyard is what I see.
The end of the line, you know what I mean? It's the end of the line for whether you're a drug addict, prostitute, or anything.
You can see individuals walking down the sidewalk who walk in a 500-yard distance or 1,000-yard distance, and they just keep walking back and forth, back and forth. I mean, your typical person doesn't do that. It's really fast that you don't want to draw attention to yourself.
I am about to be right there if you want to do a quick visit.
They stay in the hotels and walk up and down Market, and then when somebody picks you up, you take them to the hotel. I think some hotels know what goes on, but they don't care because they're getting paid every night. As long as you have an ID and the money, they really don't give you no problem.
You get to ride in the luxury car tonight.
Blonde girl just got in the...
There's some hotels, you know, that know and they don't put up with it.
All of them know what's going on. Some of them give a shit and some of them don't.
In the motels, that's where drugs, women, every single one. Every single one has their own drug dealer. Everyone has their own prostitute in it.
You ever think about the people here catching on to what you were doing?
5 years ago, the prostitutes were predominantly a lot on Fifth Street, near downtown, more of your lower income area.
The police started focusing on that area. The women then moved to Market Street. The first time I ever prostituted was behind that building right there, which is now a church. Most of the prostitutes then hung out downtown. It was a family. The area that we hung out in was like 3rd Street, Wright area, and you would just walk. You walked everywhere, and then people would just come by and pick you up.
Like, you go knock once, and then you keep walking back and forth, and then if he wanted you to come in, he'd open the door and you just go in.
You could get out of the car, and then the next block be picked up again. And then, like, I literally couldn't I'd leave my drug dealer's house, and I couldn't even get around the corner before I'd get picked up. It was like, back then, it was like a revolving door. We weren't dressed up. We had on normal clothes. I mean, I've walked the streets in pajama pants before, you know, at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It was all areas, all times of night.
In my pocket, and I was trying
I would eat a Little Debbie, 50-cent Little Debbie. I'd get a bottle of Boone's Farm and a 25-cent chip. There was no running water at a certain point. We would use the bathroom. We would just go in the bucket and pour it out the back door. I mean, you look road hard. I mean, you're not sleeping, you're doing drugs, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to the doctor, you're not being on medications you need to be on, you're not getting, I mean, you're just not doing what productive members of society do.
You have categories now. You know, you have your streetwalker that still exists, and then you have individuals that are gaining their business through the internet, social media, different websites.
It's like online shopping. You don't have to go out to the stores and buy. It's convenience. It makes it a lot easier for the girls, and it makes it a lot easier for the guys. It's blown it wide open.
Hello.
You on in calls?
They used to think that the sort of statistical observation, empirical evidence suggested that
one person that was involved in prostitution, in outdoor prostitution, walking the track, walking on Market Street, was indicative of maybe 10 more girls working indoors. Now, with the huge explosion of online prostitution opportunities, we've no way of quantifying what one person on the street indicates as far as what's happening indoors off the street.
Backpage was the pimp. That's pretty much the only way you can put it. Backpage is the one that facilitated it. I mean, it's the one that started it. You can post to be a prostitute on this website for yourself.
For a quick visit, which is 15 to 20 minutes, it's $60. For a half an hour, it's 120, and for an hour, it's 180 to 200. In-call is where they come to you, out-call is where you go to them. No pimps or thugs, no African Americans.
A lot of the white guys won't call you because you're seeing black guys.
Google prostitute Wilmington, North Carolina, and it'll pop up. A lot of times they'll put a name using a fake name, some brief description of maybe what they do, what they don't do, pictures. Sometimes they're real pictures, sometimes they're not real pictures. It's a word game, it's a cat and mouse. Donations to, 100 kisses, well that means $100. 100 roses, $100. It's merely a word game to mask what they're doing. Anytime you have to post something that says not law enforcement affiliated, you're probably doing something illegal.
I came here to spend time with somebody, give them a massage. I told them to...
Do you have a massage license? Do you have a business license?
No, I didn't know I needed one.
It's just a smoke and mirrors game once again. Massages, you have reputable massage companies that charge $60 to $70 an hour for an hour massage at a legit business. Why would you pay someone $200 for the same? It doesn't make sense.
My name on there is Destiny. And I remember saying, it's my destiny. To begin with, I didn't have self-esteem.
Hey, gorgeous, how are you?
Hey. When I got on Backpage, and then started getting the more calls, the more I felt better. My self-esteem personally went up because I was sought after more, and I mean, the attention, love the attention it got. I'd get up and say 9 o'clock. I'd be posted by 10, makeup done, hair done by 11, taking my first call by 12.
I'm near the pool and the room number is 133.
As many calls as you can make.
How quick did your phone ring?
Immediately.
An hour? Would you be available at 4 if I stuck over there around 4?
I'd say on my block, there's probably 40 girls. At least 10 of them on Backpage. You have to train yourself as this is my job. This is what I have to do. If I don't do this, I'm not going to get high. I'm not going to have a place to sleep tonight. Or for the ones that's moms and just trying to make it, how is my kids going to eat? You might look at me and not think that I'm human, that I'm just a picture. No. I still have feelings. I still care. I still love. I still hurt. I deal with more hurt than I've ever dealt with love.
I don't think the people seeing us realize that we have a life too. We have a story too, you know?
Growing up, when I was growing up, I had been molested, sexually molested by a group of guys. It went on for probably a year and a half maybe. That transition to be hell in the back of my mind for the rest of my life. I never got to lose my virginity. I just started rebelling. I started having sex when I was 12 or 13 years old. You're supposed to have meaning behind sex. You're not supposed to feel numb about it.
I went to 13 different schools by the time I was 13. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom and dad, before I was born, were heroin addicts. From what I know, like the history of him, he was a career criminal. He actually was in the sex industry too. Like he actually had girls working for him, so. I was trading sex for drugs when I was young, when I was 15, 16. I saw how easy it was and how much money I could make. Self-esteem is one big thing. You know, if you don't feel like you're good at anything, and that's the only way that you can make money, and you know that you're good at it. Right now, I don't want to quit doing what I'm doing, but I know it's gonna have to quit soon.
I mean, we were pretty much a normal middle-class family. My dad's an attorney, my mom was a paralegal. They provided a good life for us. We went to private school, we went on trips. You know, we knew our parents loved us. I remember that I was molested from when I was 8 years old from a neighbor boy. And I never really talked to my parents about it.
I had everything, you know, you want as a kid, but like my mom wasn't there. Like my mom used to drink and stuff, and like she would always had a lot of boyfriends, so she would be gone a lot, and my dad wasn't in my life. You're supposed to be there for your kids and stuff, and like I shouldn't have been the one having to raise other kids in our house. A friend of mine that she did it, and I seen how much money she was making, and I just tried it, and it was easy.
These girls don't grow up as little girls and say, well, I just can't wait to be a prostitute.
That seems ridiculous, and it is. I think more likely what it is a situation of desperation. The question is, what led to that exploitation? Historically, if you were to rewind the lives of those women, I would say in most circumstances you would find there was a point in their life where there was sexual abuse or sexual trauma or domestic violence of some kind that then sort of set them on a path that would let them think that their value or their currency was tied to their body.
You never know what you'll do until you get into a situation where you have no other choice but to take care of yourself, and you just never know. I had to do something fast. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like I wanted to. It's like I kind of had to try to get my life together. I have a job already, so it's just not making ends meet. It's just hard sometimes.
How does your brain go to that place where you're like, I'm going to sell myself so that I can feed my family, so that I can make ends meet? We are all one crisis away from falling into the ravine. But when you're talking about people who of low education, no support structure, prior abuse in their history, they're not just one crisis away from falling down the ravine, right? They're just one day away.
You have anything illegal on you?
Yes,
Give me that.
What we're seeing across the country, we're seeing here in Wilmington, it's the question of what's the most visible. right? Versus are we willing to peel the layers of the onion back and look underneath, right? Because when we do, we start to see the complexity of the crime. The job is on society, and it's on law enforcement, it's on prosecutors, it's on first responders, it's on teachers in schools, it's on school nurses to learn what signs to pick up on. Not just on addiction and the back end of Market Street like we're talking about.
Just don't pull it, just let it fall out.
Way earlier, when that first episode of abuse or sexual exploitation takes place, to recognize it then, to intervene then, that's where we're really going to see a change in the life or the fork in the road that person goes down, so that they don't end up being that disassociated, jaded person on Market Street.
It's the Bible Belt, and it just gets ignored.
And we're going to have a good time.
Out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? It's not my problem, until your kid or your parent or your sister or your brother does it, you know what I mean? They think, I'm a piece of crap. My family's ashamed of me, society's ashamed of me, I'm ashamed of me, you know what I mean? And they just think that defines them for the rest of their life.
We're all little girls, and we're all hurt inside. And that little girl needs to be loved. It all goes back to dealing with the issues that got us where we are to put us in that prostitution.
I see a lot of hopeless cases. I just think that people need to realize that too, that we are human. Most of the time, drugs and alcohol are a big factor.
In the beginning, when I was making a lot of money, it was good. I was getting as up as I wanted to be. And that kind of drowned it out, a lot of it. You can't get out of it. Especially if you're on drugs, you can't save money to get a place. The money is very addicting. You're making way more than if you worked a regular job. And if you're on drugs, you're making money that day, you can go get high that day. I grew up with a decent family. My dad was never in the drugs. He hates the fact that I even smoke. I know my dad never would have thought I was doing it. He would have never thought his kid or whatever did that. At age 17, I met a guy, and that's when I started skipping school a lot. One time he offered me some pain pills, and after that it was over. Started with Vicodin, and then it moved it way up to Percocets, and then I've done heroin ever since. I just wanted to be done. I was waiting for them to get off. Hurry, please, get off, get done. I wasn't into it ever.
Since the police busted me and I can't sell heroin no more because they follow me everywhere I go, I kind of started doing the back page thing.
So what would you have done with this money tonight? For drugs?
$80, you can go get you a couple bags and get off E and get to feeling better, and then later on turn you another trick and go get you some more. And so, I guess it's easier than going and working a regular job, waiting a week or two to get a paycheck.
With my daughter, I did drugs almost the whole pregnancy.
What kind?
Pills. I'd stay up for days at a time, numbing the pain, numbing what wasn't there no more. Get my first high by 9 o'clock in the morning. I always said that was the first thing I did. Because you don't want to be sick. You don't want to be going through withdrawals and then have to take a call.
The more money I make, the more drugs I buy, and the more people I get high. I get so lonely, and I don't want to be by myself out there, so I take these people and I get them high, I party with them, and my money goes. They're users.
He's just outside the door right now, getting ready to knock.
Drugs and prostitution goes hand in hand.
Sheriff's office, put your hands up. Do not move.
So if you don't want to quit drugs, you're going to go and prostitute, period.
Go to the ground.
A lot of girls can't perform unless they're high.
Watch his hand, watch his hand.
It was just doing something with the drug dealer to get drugs. In my brain, it was a job to get what I wanted. But everybody I looked at had money signs. Like, I knew that they were a means to an end. The only thing that I knew to do was to get what I needed was to sell myself, because that wasn't, I justified it in my mind that I wasn't hurting anybody.
If you could describe this whole thing in one word, what would that word be?
Dangerous.
Can we lock? Is this locked?
Don't.
I've had men try to rob me.
Open the door!
I have guys pull out guns. Yeah, it's not an easy business at all. You have to be scared for every person that you see.
I got one hand.
I got the other.
Yeah, people rob you all the time. Guys will run up in the room.
He's trying to block it.
A guy might pay you and then you do what he wants you to do and then run out with the money.
Put your hands behind your back right now. Keep his other hand on the side. Roll him over. Roll him over. Put your hand behind your back. The other hand.
He just kind of like grabbed me by my arm. I told him if he didn't let go of me, I was going to call the cops. He said, go ahead. He ended up putting me in a chokehold. He kept threatening to throw my phone in this huge furnace. That's when I started fighting and trying to hit him, and he hit me back, and I couldn't get the door open. And I finally got it open, and as soon as I got the door open, he snatched me by my hair and tried to pull me back in. And remember, I had no clothes on, nothing. I got out the door after him ripping half my hair out and ran into the Kangaroo gas station. I was screaming, lady, please lock the door, please, I just got attacked.
Our business will get comfortable, okay?
If you're suddenly involved in sort of this underworld already, and then crimes are perpetrated on you, you're raped, you're assaulted, right? The first thing we say is, you exposed yourself to that. You opened yourself wide up to that. Well, what did you think was going to happen?
It definitely feels like we don't fit in with the regular population as far as us feel like we did something wrong. And we're going to become the bad guy in this scenario. So there's no point in even calling the cops.
The house that I told you about was right where that no trespassing sign is. It was an abandoned house right on Dawson. And I think I was walking up this way and I met him and the guy, and then he said, oh, where can we go? And we went right over there and did it. There was glass all over the floor. After we finished, then told me to turn around, and he put a gun to the back of my head. And he then took the money back from me and then proceeded to make me lie down on the glass and had sex with me. And when he was done, he made me sit in the corner, took all my clothes, and told me to count to 100, and if I moved, he was going to shoot me in the back of the head. And I just justified it as not getting paid for a job that I did.
This is a dangerous game, a dangerous part of society that goes on behind closed doors. You're meeting individuals that you don't know, and individuals are being lured into places that you don't know what's behind that next door.
Not just being beaten on or anything like that. You have to be worried about getting STDs. You have to worry about all that kind of stuff.
But we didn't use condoms. I didn't carry them. So I'm lucky I don't have anything, because I don't. mean, there were people that I knew had HIV on the streets that I hung out with.
I've known of a couple of prostitutes that have AIDS.
You're pretty much playing Russian roulette. You don't know what you're arriving to, and you don't know what you're leaving with.
Bareback, they call it. Not using a condom. I get a lot of people that want that.
Did you bring in a condom?
No, we have to go bare without one.
Sometimes they won't even ask you, can I go bare? Because I mean, a lot of these girls won't do it. And so they'll come and like try to slip it off in the middle of doing it. So that's a problem I've been having lately.
You know, they could pay $180 for an hour and then sit here and give you an extra $50 to $100 just to do bareback. And then another $50 to $100 just to nut in you. You just sit there, hope and pray that you don't get pregnant. If you do, you better go get $300 and go to the clinic. But seeing the things that dudes can do to their wife and how they can lie and the life of a lie that they can live. I don't trust any man. I don't believe any man on this earth can be faithful.
$100 a piece? You said 100.
No, 100 total.
Normal guys you would look at and wouldn't think a day in your life would ever stop. Businessmen, pastors, I mean, suits and ties, and men that you would never think a day in your life would actually do something like that.
So you got 16, 17-year-old little boys doing it in their parents' house, and then you've got doctors, lawyers, and photographers, and
Roll over to the right.
Is this gonna be on TV?
Sir.
other random people calling, still in their business suits.
I just hope you're extra sexy, like you sound.
Sheriff's officer.
Sheriff's officer. Show your hands.
Hands up.
Put your hands up in there.
Hands up.
Put them up.
I used to have a judge. I went to Baltimore and I had an FBI agent. Yeah, doctors. I had a regular that was a lawyer.
I'm a lonely guy, and so I'm not thinking.
Construction workers, lawyers, chiropractors.
We have businessmen who come to town frequently in Wilmington, who go to their hotel room, who power up their laptop, who order their dinner, and they order their food, and then they order their prostitute.
I was scanning Backpage Myrtle Beach. I'm down here every day working.
Oh, okay. Because it's so readily available to them. And so that demand obviously drives the supply.
Guys that have their own condos, secret condos down here at the beach, with weird fetishes. I mean, just weird stuff that you would never look at them and think that about them.
Hey. I mean, I've had 70-year-old men, I've had 16-year-old boys. I mean,
I just wanted straight sex. I mean,
and anywhere in between that.
let me pull up his braces first.
Okay.
Age ain't nothing. They don't care.
How old are you?
20.
20?
They're getting younger and younger out here.
And then solicitation, prostitution.
Or mommy in the kitchen cooking and me climbing out the window, yep.
Are you on the right page of doing the right thing, Joe?
He's a pastor. He's married. He's a pastor. You know how I can tell by the way he dressed and the jewelry. He wants a golden chat. He wants to get pissed on.
Just kind of go to trailer parks and, you go to a house and there's 15 of them in there. So you're guaranteed to hit like at least 8 of them. $50 a pop, $80 a pop, you know what I'm saying? So for 5-10 minutes and be on your way, walk out the house with $300-400. A lot of married men.
Would you say more of your clients are married or not married?
Married.
they married or unmarried?
Married.
Their wives aren't giving it to them, or something's going on with their wives, so they call an escort.
Follow the big man. Follow the big man there.
And because that's when I get most of my clients, on their lunch breaks before work, because they're married. And those are the best times for them to get out and be with somebody and undetected.
That time is undocumented as far as home time.
I drove a long way, man. I live all the way in Wilmington.
So therefore, they're able to do things out of the norm in their work schedule, non-work schedule.
I don't want the door coming out when I get arrested.
That they're not required to be home.
Like, I hate men. I can't stand them at all.
What?
Because I see what, like, husbands do, and it's gross.
They want a sex act done that they're not going to get at home. They want something adventurous, something different, something dangerous, something illegal, whatever it is. And those girls don't have to be anybody special to do that.
What's your name, boss?
Sir?
What's your name?
Chris.
Or they didn't have to send flowers.
How much cash?
They didn't have to be nice. They didn't have to remember anybody's birthday.
I wasn't going to participate in a thing.
They didn't have to feel guilty. They just could pay their money and ante up.
What in the world is this?
To say that it is not harming anybody is the biggest lie that there ever was. Their wives get STDs. I see that every day. I work with 5 gynecologists in Raleigh.
Which one of us do you want to start with?
It's mostly just either hand jobs, blow jobs, or they want a quickie.
Kicking them, slapping them, peeing on them, any kind of fetish mainly.
What's the #1 request?
Threesomes.
This guy wanted me to act like his 13-year-old daughter.
A couple called me and asked me if I would pee on them. No, I'm good on that.
I had one man that just wanted to rub my feet and would pay me like $80 to rub my feet, and I got a burger and fell asleep on his bed while he rubbed my feet.
There's something dysfunctional going on when a man says, I want to go out and have sex with a girl who I think is probably 15, but I'm not really going to ask because then I can still do what I want to her and go home and not feel quite as guilty. Man up, like be a real man. Like, if you really think it's okay, tell your wife what you're doing before you go out and do it. There's a reason people keep this secret, and there's a reason that we don't want to tell.
The choice we sort of have to make is, do we want to confront the supply, and pull one piece of the supply off the street at the time, or will we make a bigger impact in our community and what's going on here if we confront demand?
You got anything on you?
I don't have it. I got the knife in my
Knife?
The last time the prostitution laws were rewritten prior to Safe Harbor in 2013 was 1901 in North Carolina. So quite some time ago. And you can imagine there have been lots of changes in the industry since then.
Prostitution before the new law came out was predominantly sexual intercourse, male with female. Now it is broadened from any sexual contact for profit. These are the ads if you want to look at them. We've tried to post a couple today. They're showing up differently than the past before because Backpage is charging. It says he'll be here in 20 minutes. You told him to come around back to the pool. If we target and stay focused and keep on track with both individuals, hopefully at some point in time we'll send a message that says, hey, we're here, we're watching what you do, and one day if you engage in this activity, you will get caught.
I knew when I got arrested this time that I was looking in the cop's face.
I thought you were going to be a no-show.
When I asked him if he was a cop,
Are you a police officer? No. Are you?
I knew that he was screaming yes in his head.
Solicitation, prostitution.
No, I didn't. I could tell everything was wrong. I knew from the minute I walked through that door I was getting busted.
We have to ask all the right questions, do all the right investigating to see what classification these individuals fit in, whether they're a victim, whether they're being trafficked, whether they're underage, whether they're just merely doing it because they're laughing in our face saying, I'm making $1,000 a week, I'm not going to stop.
I'm waiting still. Hands up! Hands up!
So when you leave here,
I'm gonna go do the same thing. Reality is I'm gonna get out of here. I'm not gonna have a car. I'm not gonna have any money. I won't have a phone, so I'm gonna have to go make money and do something somehow. If I don't wanna live in a shelter or in the woods behind Target, I'm gonna go do what I know how to make money in an hour and have a roof over my head in 1 hour, have a phone, and have the drugs I want.
You go to jail and you go home in 45 days and nothing is done. Like, you didn't get no help. You go back out to the same thing you just left from. So you really have no other choice but to go back to doing what you were doing.
You were being warned by the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office that if we catch you again, you were going to jail for prostitution.
They're wanting to get back to the only thing they know. And when they come out, who's the welcome party for them?
We've found them anywhere from 15 years old, my personal experiences, all the way up to in their 60s. And some find prison and some find death.
Hey, how you doing? We're the sheriff's office. Don't go anywhere.
Sheriff's office?
Stop.
We do the best we can at trying to stay ahead of the crimes that are happening, but unfortunately, sometimes there's not enough of us as there are as many of them.
Stop lying. No, what is that?
No, don't go nowhere.
No,
What
is this?
Don't go nowhere.
Historically, they currently have a pimp that they're working for or a trafficker they're working for, or that's how they got into the business, or as we call it, the life, is because a pimp or a trafficker or a boyfriend has gotten them into it, whether by telling them this is just one time, just to get this one hotel room or this one fix, and you don't have to do it again.
Hands her back some money.
Down the ground.
You got a gun on you, Marcus?
No.
All right, Mr. Tartar, you have been charged today with promoting the prostitution of a minor.
If we focus on the girls on the street, like, yes, that is a crime and it's taking place, but it's so complex. They're there for so many reasons: desperation, abuse, exploitation. The people who are profiting off of them are the pimps and the traffickers. They're there for one reason: money.
You're going to be under a $5 million bond. That means you need $5 million in cash.
How many times can I sell you a drug? Once, and it's consumed, right? How many times can I sell you a gun? I can sell it to you one time. How many times can I sell you a person? 10, 15, 20 times a day?
These are pretty serious charges, man. And you got...
Human exploitation is the #2 most profitable criminal enterprise in the world. And of course, the estimate is just that, an estimate, but somewhere between $32 and $115 billion. Who's putting that money in their pocket? It is not the woman walking on Market Street, right? It's the people who are selling her. It's the online provision of the people who are being able to market flesh around America. Like, that's who's putting the money in their pocket. That's what's driving the industry.
It is by far the most profitable crime. It's probably the least prosecuted worldwide, and I don't know the latest statistics, but everyone believes it will overtake drug trafficking. I mean, if you wanted to get into big crime, you would be so much smarter to sell girls and children than drugs and guns.
License, and I'm not doing nothing wrong. My girls are not doing nothing.
This is open to everybody. Everybody can run a girl.
The average number of times a woman goes back to her pimp is 7 times. The average lifespan of a woman once they enter into life is also 7 years. So you've got some interesting correlations there. There's a woman who was talking to one of us one day, and she said, you know, I know my pimp beats me, you know, I know he sells me, you know, sometimes he'll rape me. He does all these things, but at the end of the day, he gets my favorite soda and my favorite candy bar. So really he loves me. And it's that teeny bit of compassion or love, or what seems like love to these girls, that keeps them hanging on for hope. Because if they truly step back and look at what they've gotten into, it's devastating. It's absolutely devastating.
Proper instructions get proper production in this game. Let's get together and maximize.
They're fighting just for affection. It's so easy. And he uses that to further his little financial kingdom.
But then you've got the boyfriend who is profiting off the prostitution of his girlfriend because her prostitution is allowing him to eat, sleep, live, travel every day because he doesn't have his own job.
I love you.
And by statute now in North Carolina, you're profiting off the illegal sale, just like you would off the illegal sale of drugs. I will say it's quite common in my experience for a woman to tell you that she doesn't have a pimp.
Just me, I'm 100% independent,
Okay.
and you only deal with me.
Because she doesn't want to expose her pimp for fear of retribution in violence or other ways from that pimp.
Reality is you work for yourself. Who wants to give up their drug money? Nobody.
I'm a photographer now.
Who wants to sit there and have to give a percentage to somebody that does absolutely nothing but sit on their ass? Nobody.
When I learned how to do it myself, I strictly wanted to do it myself because it's like they take 40% or whatever, and it's like, I'm doing the work. You're not doing nothing but sitting on your ass. I mean, you should not be getting none of my money.
I wouldn't do that. I'm not that dumb. To actually have a man control my life and control my money, and no.
And then there's also guerrilla pimps, who are pimps that are abusive, who are violent. You look at all the highways and byways, 85, 95, 40, and we see tons of drug trafficking, going up and down these corridors. And now, following the trafficking of drugs, we're seeing the trafficking of people that are going place to place to meet the demand. So the difference between a pimp and trafficking, oftentimes you're right, they can be very much the same thing. The difference is, in order to prove a case of pimping, I only have to prove that either someone is profiting from the act of prostitution or that they're promoting the act itself. To prove trafficking of an adult, I have to prove that there's coercion or deception involved in that commercial transaction.
We went out of town, and I think he hit me the first day I was with him. He was like, okay, you're gonna give me all your money and this is how it's gonna go. And that's how it went. And I didn't go anywhere because every time I left, he would find me, or he knew where my mom lived, and I knew how he treated me, so I didn't want anything to happen to my family. We were just everywhere. We were traveling everywhere, like all up and down the East Coast. You wake up early and post and start working. Like, I guess if you didn't want to get your ass beat, you better have the money to pay for the room, so he didn't have to take it out of his pocket. If your phone wasn't ringing, he was dropping you off on the side of the street. It's like free money. why is the guy gonna let the girl go away when they're easy to control? Like, he would beat my ass and then make me work. Like, I had a black eye for a month. You're lying to her to make him happy. I couldn't let myself care about what happened to her because I was trying to care about what's happening to me. If you're in one place, your phone will stop ringing eventually. You know, when you go to a new place, the guys are tired of seeing the same old girl there. So when you pop up, you're a new person. Everybody's gonna wanna come see you. If we got a girl in Florida, we would immediately leave Florida and go hours away. So there was no one for her to call. She had no money, nothing.
You take someone out of their environment, you can control them a lot better by removing them from what's familiar.
No one wants to look at the dark side. So what is our job? We are our brothers and sisters' keeper. What are we doing ignoring this or just saying, oh, look at them, they're choosing that lifestyle, or let's blame them, or let's throw them in jail like the problem's getting any better?
And even though my family is there. But I think people can sort of see it in a way that they can empathize with it. When you ask the question, who of you have had a job that you didn't love? Raise your hand. And then you say, now keep your hand raised if you left the moment you realized that you didn't like that job. What, that, none of you? None of you left that very moment? None of you quit at that second? Why did you stay? And I think we can all say, well, I needed the money. I stayed for security. I had to feed my kids. I had to make rent. You start to understand why it's so hard to get out and why it's so easy to get someone in.
We have to start, with the laws to put the men who are benefiting until those people are really off the streets. It's going to be what you're seeing.
At a safe place, we work with women who are involved in the life. We work with escorts, women who are on Backpage. We work with women who are on the streets. We work with women who have sugar daddies, you name it. That's kind of where our name comes in, a safe place. A woman needs to be able to step out of the life and have a pause almost and say, okay, this is a safe time that you can begin to unravel all these pieces.
Having those services there for the counseling, vocational assessment, group, they can come in and get a hot meal once a week, sit down and talk to other women where they can let the veil down and say, this is what's really going on with me. Oh, me too. It has been really powerful and important, but it's hard.
What does success look like for the people that we work with? When you come into it and you want someone to be rescued out of a hotel and sit back on her merry little way into a Cinderella story, and you have a very dysfunctional person that takes an incredibly long time to heal and to get to a healthier place, that success is going to look really different. It's going to be measured in very small amounts over a very long period of time.
We need rehabs. I've been trying to get into a rehab for months.
Everything is, the heroin's in the glove.
I can get into a detox facility, but that's 7 to 10 days they kick you out. As far as long term, one place costed $10,000 cash money to get in. How the hell do you expect me to come up with $10,000 and I can't even come up with a $20 to get a bag of dope to not be sick?
What are they going to do? What is their job history? They don't have any job experience. They don't have education. They're now a convicted criminal. Where are they going to get a job? Who's going to hire them?
Let's do some simple math. So let's say that she has an average of 3 clients a night. You're looking at over 1,000 sexual encounters in 1 year for one woman. So to walk out and walk into a job and say, hey, I'm gonna apply, here I am, I've got all these skills to offer, it's gonna feel pretty ludicrous because these women have tons of years of trauma that come along with them. And so when you take them out of the situation, you're expecting them to go from who they are to who they're not overnight without all the things that need to be put in place to help them heal.
That $7.25 an hour job, if you put all of your effort that you put into prostituting and doing drugs into your life is going to be way better than it was when you were prostituting.
You have to be willing to help yourself before someone else can help you.
Will it be difficult? Yeah, it'll be difficult, but right now your life's not easy anyway. Yeah, I mean, I've had to claw my way through the last 10 years. It's not been easy, but it's a hell of a lot more rewarding than a hit of crack cocaine.
I will make it. Trust me, I would try my hardest to make it. This has scared me. I'm not, ever.
No, I don't ever want to go back. Ever.
Swear to God, the men cannot see us.
I came off the porch at a very young age, only to hit the streets of Wilmington like a child in rage.
Our lives, the men cannot.
I caged my emotions and hid my tears. I sold my body, embracing my fears. When I look back, no love was never spoken. Showed the frames of the pictures that was broken. I took drugs for hugs and sold my body for love. Market Street became my main peak. The men took advantage of the strong and connected with the weak. I was living in my own world of misery while reality was belittling me. No one ever asked to understand why I sold my precious jewels to just any man.
District Court 200.
I'm tired of being married to a prostitution ring, and my life is committed to the fiend.